Hello and welcome to another edition of the Mexican Soccer Show. I am your backup host, Cesar Hernandez. We're here to talk about Pokemon Go. We're here to talk about the Democratic National Convention. No, I'm just
Yeah.
kidding. I'm just messing with you guys. We're here to talk about the Liga
Go
MX.
Birds.
Obviously, that's why we're here. We're talking about the Liga MX. We're here to talk about Oribe Peralta, Chivas, the Olympics, 10-8 rule, everything involving Mexican soccer. But before we get into it, let me introduce you guys to our two guests tonight. Far off, way over in San Diego, about 2 miles east of my house right now, we have Johnny Rico, who I haven't seen since Saturday. Johnny, how you doing?
Hey, what's up? Yeah, we haven't seen each other because you bailed on the plan to go watch the Cholos game on Sunday.
I ended up watching the game. I just had a lot of work to do. I knew if I went out to go watch the game out in the bar, then I would have got in trouble, and then it would have been very difficult for me. I had to sit at home and watch the game. But
Anyways, yeah, I'm taking a break from Democratic National Convention, Field of Burn, uh, to New Mexican Soccer Show episode.
Thought they'd already decided that it's going to be the candidate. Aye, let's not go there with Johnny actually.
Yeah, that's like really quickly before I introduce Tom. I think Johnny and I watched soccer on Saturday. I don't even think we really talked about soccer. We just argued about politics for a while. That's all we really did. But anywho, Tom over in Guadalajara, Tom over in the headquarters of Chivas TV, preparing to do some commentary. Tom, how are you doing over there in Guadalajara?
Yeah, not bad. No complaints. Rainy season, so you have to pick your times to go outside. But yeah, good times. Chivas game. Chivas tomorrow as well. A lot of football this week. Libertadores final. Under 23s on Thursday. Cholos against Chivas on Friday. So apart from tonight, it's a kind of a game every night of the week. So, but you know, that's a good thing if you're me.
Oh no, man, I love it. I look forward to that stuff. But luckily, they don't have much stuff going on Monday, so that way we can kind of jump in and do our own thing. All right, so before we get into the bigger news evolving, I would say, like Oribe and Chivas, I was talking to the guys. We wanted to discuss the biggest talking points from the first 2 weeks of the season. So I'm going to go over to Tom first, and I want you to tell me, what to you has been the biggest talking point? What to you has stood out the most, during the first 2 weeks of the season?
Can I give three?
Yeah, man, do it. Go for give three.
All right.
Give three.
All right. I'd say the three. Firstly, the 10-8 rule. Obviously, increases the amount of foreigners to 10 and means 8 Mexican-born, homegrown players have to be in each squad. I think last weekend I worked it out, and there was 16 Mexican under 23s that started games in the Liga MX over last weekend, and I know the Liga MX and the FMF are now kind of separate entities, but at the end of the day, I think, and I'm not just saying it's down to the 10-8 rule, but if that continues and there's only a handful of Mexican players playing first division football, then I think the writing's on the wall for the national team. It's going to be very difficult to kind of reach that next level. You know what I mean?
Ironically enough, this rule was put in place because of lack of opportunities to young Mexican players. This is the league's way of solving the problem, which Tom just said makes it worse. I've always been against the 10-8 rule for other reasons, but it's just their inefficiency.
Yeah, but I mean, my point of view on the rule is that, all right, the league clearly isn't making it. They're not giving any incentive for team owners to play young Mexicans, but it's up to the team owners as well. It's their responsibility. And at the end of the day, they're voting for these rules, which is the whole irony of the whole situation. You know what I mean? So it's like they're the ones who have to put in place policies that they're like, we as a club believe that it's good for us to play with young Mexican players. Why? Because it's like, if you're a club in a community, in a city, then it's always good to have a few players from around the local vicinity. I know that when I watch like my team and growing up, it's like, it's so much better if you've got kids who are like coming up through the youth system and breaking into the first team, and we're like, oh, that kid, he's from like the next neighborhood down, and we've got the same accent and we speak the same. And I don't know, I think Mexican football's in danger of losing that kind of identity as well. And I think Pachuca's the example, but yeah.
Well, Xolos has a couple kids from Chula Vista, which is 5 miles 5 miles from the stadium.
They also have a couple of Mexican American kids who are treated as foreigners as well, according to that rule, which is really unfortunate. But here's a question I have for you guys, which I just thought of, is that regardless of whether it helps youth players or not, youth Mexican players or not, do you think it benefits teams in the end? Do you think there might be some sort of weird silver lining for clubs because of the 10-8 ruling?
10-8 rule. I think the silver lining is that they can reduce the wage bill on a short-term basis. I think club owners were buying into it because of that, because those players that were kind of probably getting more money than they deserve in terms of the quality, and now find themselves completely lost. Either take a pay cut, go to the second division, or move outside of Mexico. And we've seen a few of those players. And then the clubs can obviously go to even Spain. They can go to Spain, Ecuador, Colombia, and they can get cheaper and arguably better quality younger players in. So I think for the league, I think it is going to strengthen the league. I don't, that's my opinion. I definitely think the league is going to get better with this rule. I think in a way it's very exciting because I think we're going to get some top players coming to Mexico. So yeah, I think that's one positive.
Johnny, your thoughts? Do you think Tom just touched upon it, but do you think there are any other benefits? I definitely agree with you guys, and I think it's unfortunate that it definitely hurts a lot of players, especially those, Mexican American players, which we've seen like firsthand in Tijuana. But
to me, there'll never be a benefit to discrimination. So, whenever you have rules or policies that are discriminating against citizens of that country, then whatever benefit, which I still can't find none, is definitely not worth it.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. I mean, from a legal, moral point of view, I don't know the legal side, but from a moral point of view.
No. And Tom, you've talked about it a lot before too. We're just like some of these people are considered. They have technically a Mexican citizenship, or they have parents who are Mexican citizens as well, but they're still seen as as foreigners. I think what's the one example everyone keeps talking about? Baca, I think is one as well, who is considered. Yeah, who's considered as a foreigner, and it's really, when you see examples like that, it's very confusing.
And the league wanted, this rule was aimed at the naturalized Mexican citizens, like let's say Ruben Sambuesa, who was born in Argentina and now a Mexican citizen. But a guy like Vaca, he's not a naturalized citizen. He has a birthright to be a Mexican citizen because of his parents.
Yeah, I think they've got it. I think they've legally got around it. And I'm sure they've had discussions, but they're not down as kind of Mexicans or non-Mexicans. They're down as, what is it, D? I don't even know what they stand for yet. They're written down as D and OC.
Oh, it's Diez and Ocho.
It's what?
Diez and Ocho. That's Johnny and I were really confused during their first Xolos game. The D stands for Diez and the OC for Ocho. Yeah. No, honestly, I was
so
really I was really confused by that as well, actually.
So I mean, I think they've got around it by saying actually it's got nothing to do with nationality. It's about these guys being homegrown, having registered with the league by 18 years old. But I think the other thing that I think is going to be interesting, and let's see further down the line, but when it comes to young Mexicans, if they're not getting chances in the Mexican league, if the wages aren't as strong for those guys as they were, will we see a few take a risk, go to Europe, turn 18 and think, right, I'm at Tigres, I've pretty much got no chance of getting in this team for the next 5-6 years. Why not risk everything, go to Europe, even South America, MLS, rather than stay here and just kind of be playing under 20s football for the next few years?
No, that's an excellent point too, especially if you consider something like Major League Soccer, which it isn't nearly as big as a risk as going way up to go far over to Europe. But you have something just literally just across the border. That is an interesting perspective to take on that as well. Yeah. Any last thoughts on 10-8 before I ask Johnny what his biggest talking point so far has been during the past couple weeks?
That's it.
Right. Yeah. But yeah, no, Tom. I was also really confused by the D and the OC. It's like you're like looking around, looking at the roster, like what does this mean? No, but yeah, I think actually it was some random person on Twitter who brought it up, and then it just clicked. Well, once I saw that.
Diaz and Ocho. Yeah. No, yeah, I wouldn't even think of the numbers. What was the other thing I was going to say about Tene? Yeah, let's not forget that the transfer deadline for bringing in foreign players won't close until, I believe, September the 5th.
Mm-hmm.
So there's plenty of time to carry on shopping for players. And I think this is another one of the things, like the Mexicans have got their own deadline.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't find a team within Mexico by that deadline, you're screwed. You know, you can't move. If you're a Mexican, you can't move if you're within one of these clubs. Whereas to bring players from outside, you've got till September the 5th.
Yeah.
So it's like, you can imagine these players who haven't they're just stranded in a club. They know they're not going to be able to play. And their only option is to kind of go abroad, you know, and then you see clubs kind of going everywhere, and they've got like 2, 3, 4. What is it? It's June, isn't it? June, July, August. They've got 3 months extra to go abroad and buy players. It just seems entirely unfair on the Mexican players. But then again, it's up to them guys to kind of stand up now and form a union and stand up for themselves.
So you're telling me there's a chance that Carlos Tevez still will come to America? You're saying there's a chance?
No, John, you got Silvio Romero. That was your big signing. That was your 2016.
For those who are still too young, that was a Dumb and Dumber reference.
Is that really an old? I guess that is an old movie now. Oh my God, I'm getting old. Whatever. All right, Johnny, what's your biggest talking point? Do you think that after 2 weeks there is a talking point to bring up just yet?
Nope, not at all. My biggest talking point is me waiting for a talking point. We were watching the games. We were watching the games on Saturday. We had Pumas Cruz Azul on the main screen, and we had Chiapas on the other screen, and we decided to talk about politics because Cruz Azul and Pumas were just not offering anything on the field. Those games between those two usually end up being draws, but there's very, very, very bad quality from both Pumas and Cruz Azul, and not just them. The rest of the games, León, Necaxa, sure the weather didn't help there, but no team did anything. It's just been like that this last 2 weeks. Nothing's happening.
Yeah, from Saturday's game. Go ahead, Tom.
No, yeah, I mean, you're going to say the 3-0-0s, not 3-0-0s, on out of the 9 games. But I don't know, I just feel like we touched on it last week with Wiso that like maybe the season started earlier this time, and like, I don't know, just watching kind of Monterrey against Chivas from the stadium, and you look at players, the Monterrey players especially, and it's like, an hour's gone and the kind of hands on the hip, breathing deeply, and I just wonder if teams are actually kind of up to speed yet. Tigres is another team. I mean, what is it? 2-0-0s now for Tigres or something?
Yeah, they have to score a goal. Yeah, no.
Which one of the few soccer talking points on Saturday was Cesar saying Tigres will be the highest scoring team in the league.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stand by that. I have faith in Ismael Sosa leading that attack. But no, I mean, Tigres are another team. Cruz Azul and Pumas, if I remember correctly, they have yet to allow a goal. But I think that I'm not sure if either has even scored just yet. No,
Pumas scored once against Chivas. I remember that. Oh no,
right.
Yeah.
Wait, no, they didn't score. Chivas scored.
I don't know Pumas. Yeah. Chivas got no goal. But I mean, even the game that I think most people would agree was the most exciting, probably Puebla Tijuana. I didn't think it was exciting because it was good. If you know what I mean. I mean, there was some decent goals scored, but I just thought the defending was awful.
No, Emmanuel Aguilera just had an awful game. The new Xolos defender. He looked like he was trying to get out of the way of the attackers at all times. For Puebla to score those 3 goals.
Yeah, no, Tijuana kind of made Puebla made him look like Barcelona for a little bit there. But yeah, no, it's it is. It almost seems like a lot of these teams are still in like a preseason, form, and it's going to be interesting because now there are going to be various teams, especially ones like luckily Pachuca has been doing very well, because Pachuca is going to be missing 5 players to go to the Olympics. You have a team like Chivas who could have multiple players go to the Olympics. So it's going to be interesting to see the league after all these players, go to Rio and start training. But speaking of, I mean, is there anything else we want to talk to a little bit about the lack of goals, about the preseason? Because we're going to jump into about Oribe Peralta in America. But anything else about the?
Yeah, here's a, you know, Tom was mentioning how very few U23 players got a chance when we were talking about 10-8, and it also ties into this, lack of quality so far. It's about to get worse on both cases because some of the best players in the league are about to, leave to go play the Olympics. So, I think harsher times are ahead of us, especially in week 3.
No, yeah, it'd be really fascinating next week to see how many 20 players there are. It could be as little as kind of 7 or 8, as few as 7 or 8. So, it really could be, because if we had 16 last week and 15 are now going to the Olympics, and a lot of those were starters, then it's just going to become a league. It's a league for foreigners at the minute and older Mexicans. At the end of the day.
No, it's all excellent points. We'll see. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see me, especially like I said, Pachuca sending 5 players in Olympics. You see Chivas are sending 4 players. It's going to be interesting to see how those teams cope. But one player who will be going to the Olympics, Oribe Peralta. He just scored 3 goals. He could have had a 4th over the weekend. Johnny, you're watching it. You're right there next to me. I was watching Chivas. You were watching America. It was fascinating to see both play at the same time. Johnny, let's go to you. Talk about Oribe.
Oribe could have had a 5th, a 6th, or a 7th. He was so away. The hat trick I think is going to do more good in terms of his morale heading into the Olympics. But as far as his form, he scored a penalty and he scored a gimme goal from the goalkeeper. The one, to me, he scored one real goal, which was the header. Yeah, I was heavily.
What's the Johnny Rico scale of real goals?
I was heavily criticizing Peralta during the game. He goes off and scores 3 goals, which makes it hard for me to continue my criticism. So I had to tone it down, but still wasn't that impressed with Oribe.
I think he was a little unlucky too. He hit the post at one point late into the first half. But yeah, no, I will admit that one of them was a penalty, and that one weird bounce that what's his face the backup goalkeeper, Talavera Light, that should have been able. It was such a strange moment from him right there when the ball bounced right over him. Tom, what are your thoughts? I mean, okay, so Johnny said that maybe was a little bit lucky. I think Johnny's just he's still a little bothered that Benedetto has left America, and he's still a little hurt by that. But Tom, do you think this will help him? Do you think this will help Mexico, or like Johnny said, is it just kind of a fluke performance? Whatever, it was just 3 goals, but he was a little lucky.
No, definitely. I mean, every striker needs confidence, and scoring 3 before going there will be massive for Oribe. But at the end of the day, I feel like you read comments about Oribe Peralta and stuff, and people say, oh, he's amazing, and other people say, no, he's terrible, and it's like, look at his scoring goal per game ratio over the last 4 or 5 years, and it's like it's a goal per game or more in each season. You know what I mean? And it's like, what do you want? What more do you want from your striker than that? And it's no surprise that he's going to score goals in the Liga MX, and I'm sure he'll go to the Olympics and he'll score goals because he's a very good player. I mean, don't get me wrong, is he Gignac? I'd say no, but it doesn't take anything away. He's still a very good player for club and country,
Yeah, and I wrote about this. So this is his first hat trick that he's had with America, and the last time he scored more than 3 goals or more in a league game was back with Santos Laguna in 2012, and that was the same year, somewhat leading up to the Olympics as well. And I feel like maybe I'm just grasping at straws and trying to make some sort of connection, but maybe after that big performance that he has for Santos and he led Mexico to gold in 2012, they could be the same thing this year.
Did Santos win the league that season?
They did, actually. That was a.
Right. Well, then you got me. If America can win the league, it's all good.
There you go.
I'm a believer.
But yeah, anything else? Do you guys want anything else on Oribe? Anything else on Johnny? Like to you, anything else on that game by Medica? Any thoughts?
Um,
You still miss Benedetto? Do you have a Benedetto candle somewhere around your house? Just you light it every now and then, just hoping
I,
that
I,
he'll come
I
back for whatever
do
reason.
I do miss Benedetto, but I have already resigned myself. The way America treated him was very bad. You know, if Benedetto were to come back, that he'd have very low self-respect. He did the right thing by wanting to move. You know, I'm still hoping for a world-class signing. You know, the likes of Carlos Tevez, but
Hmm.
and we got till
Johnny,
September.
Do
What's
you
up?
think that with Benedetto it was more the kind of lure attraction for a huge club? The
I'm sorry. Go again.
I think Tom was referencing.
Sorry.
Did you see that tattoo that Benedetto had? Was that a big reason why he went over there?
No,
No, I think the
I
big reason
said,
Benedetto.
was it the attraction of signing for a huge club?
Oh, no, it's the attraction of playing. It's the attraction of playing for a huge club because he didn't get the opportunity to play at America. You know, he was injured, but then Ambriz would not use him. You know, he kept him on the bench. So it's the attraction of actually playing for a huge club.
I think Tom, we're both a little late with your joke there. For some odd reason, it went over my head for a second. Maybe it's because I don't. Maybe it's because I don't consider them. Maybe it's because I don't consider them a huge club. All right. So speaking of huge clubs, Tom, let's talk about Chivas a little bit.
See what you did there. See what you did.
Tom, let's talk about.
I still don't see it. I still don't. Well, no.
Let's talk about the narrow victory over Monterrey. Before the chat, we were talking about, maybe, it was a little bit of Monterrey. Are they still a little bit in preseason form? Were Chivas a little lucky? Were they lucky with that golazo from Nestor Calderon? Just tell us about the match. What were your thoughts from the? I mean, it was a narrow but big victory for them, like I mentioned on Twitter.
No, that was that's the bottom line. It was a game that was so important for Chivas. I mean, it's easy to say, oh yeah, it's week 2, there's plenty of time, and obviously there is. I think they didn't win till week 10 last season in the clubs. But I think mainly for Chivas TV. I mean, this was the debut in the Liga MX, and all the focus was on Chivas TV, and I know we'll go on to talk about the production and all that and the reaction. But the other thing that's so vital for Chivas TV is that they're selling a team that's winning games. Because if Chivas aren't winning games and they're losing all the time,
we can't say they're winning games with plural. They've only won one.
No, but going back to last season and in general to winning games, the Super Copa, and yeah, they have to be. Monterrey, if you play them at home or away, is pretty much one of the most difficult games of the season. So for Chivas to get that home win, it doesn't really matter how they got here at the end of the day. The important thing was to actually get the 3 points and get the season going, because if they would have drawn or lost this, then all of a sudden, we all know the circus that's around Chivas. The pressure becomes intense already, and there's so many issues going on at the club as well. With Carlos Salcedo's got a new agent. He sent out that letter on social media thanking everybody apart from kind of his father, who has been one of the main guiders of his career, and his sister wasn't on there either. And it's like, I don't know. I mean, it's just. And then Salcedo went to the Concentracion late. There's all these rumors that he'd fallen out with Almeida, this and that, and it's like there's just a whole show going on with Chivas right now. But the important thing was getting the win. Gallito Vasquez proved his worth. I thought Salcedo was amazing at centre back. Just one for years. Brizuela not great. Carlos Peña, he's just lacking confidence, but he just needs a couple of goals. Carlos Peña, I think he's getting in those positions. He's still kind of taking the responsibility. So I think it's a matter of time. Monterrey though, I don't know. They just don't seem to be. I thought they really missed Cardona for kind of the bit of creativity. I thought Cesar Montes, a player that we've all been getting excited about. I didn't think he had a very good game at all. And yeah, I mean, Carlos Sanchez was trying, but you got Denigris and Funes Mori up front, two kind of big number 9s, and I thought they were very kind of static, and obviously they provide a physical threat in the air, but you got to get crosses to them. And I thought Monterrey just looked very static in general, just not fluid, not creating chances, and for a team that many of us are thinking that they're going to be right in there for the title, it was very disappointing.
Yeah, and I know it's still early on this season. It's only 2 matches. I mean, but they have yet to collect a victory. I mean, they lost to Chivas. They tied against Puebla, if I remember correctly. So it's a little worrisome for them. But
Yeah, I was gonna say the bigger talking point besides Chivas winning is that Monterrey are struggling, and this is a title contender, Monterrey. They had an amazing season, but I think now going back 10 games, they've only won something like two of the last 10 games, Monterrey. So not good times in Monterrey. Maybe Carlos Sanchez should have stayed and fought for a league title instead of going and get some extra training with a doom through the way.
Yeah, that was what was it? I was trying to bring up some joke. There was some sort of meme where he was pointing up to the TV as if he was watching Monterrey, but he was pointing to I forgot, but it was pointing to Uruguay's loss. I forgot what it was. Anywho, I know I just brought that up. That was the first thing that came to mind. But anywho, but yeah, no, I mean obviously it looks like Monterrey is struggling. But that said, I think. That one goal from Calderon, it was well placed. It wasn't Gignac like straight at the top, top corner. It wasn't, a powerful shot, but just the way that it was placed was fantastic. And Tom, what was the atmosphere like in Estadio Chivas after that goal?
No, yeah, it exploded. I think there's a few nerves going around before it because it looked like it was going to be 0-0. The game just looked like it wasn't going to have a goal. But yeah, I felt there was just a lot of relief as well. I mean, yeah, like Chivas TV because around the stadium there were behind actually the seat right behind me is where they're doing the commentary in the press box. So all the cameras are there just like videoing the people doing Chivas TV, and you've got the studio now. You've got all the signs saying we're the first ones to do this. Get behind us, support us. You know what I mean? So it's interesting, but I don't know what did you two get off social media? And I know Naib watched it live. He wasn't too happy. I know Stray Goat thinks it's like the new HBO or something over there. But
I was getting mixed reviews.
There's a wide range of opinions.
I was seeing a lot of mixed reviews. I know a lot of people. It seems like a lot of people are going out there and who are trying to make the worst of it and trying to make it seem as if it's some sort of awful thing. But I saw a lot of people who are trying to make it seem as if it is like the most beautiful thing ever. But I mean, at least from what I saw, and I really can't say that much just because I don't have the service. I'm over here in the United States. But just from my end and what I saw on Twitter is it just looked like it was mixed reviews. It looks like it was mixed reviews, and there's still criticisms of the service.
Yeah, still, whether, I don't think nothing has changed in the last, week and a half, 2 weeks. It's still overpriced for the product you're getting. You're getting one pretty mediocre middle of the table Liga MX team for a pretty high price.
Johnny, if there was such a thing as a America TV, and it had the same, let's say, it had the same kind of like quality that you would actually here, Johnny, how much would you pay for America TV if that existed?
I subscribe to Dish Network just so I can get Univision Deportes Network, just so I can watch America games. So, the $200 a month for Dish Network, that's about what I'm willing to pay.
So you're willing to pay
$200 a month?
Back when I made the switch, my cable company did not carry Univision Deportes Network, so I was not able to watch the America games. So I was very unhappy. So I ditched my cable company and called up Dish Network, and now I got Univision Deportes.
Yeah.
$200 a month. Good luck. Oh my God, Johnny!
No, but hold on.
You could start your own America TV for $200 a month, right there.
You gotta look at the product. You gotta look at the product as compared to the price. There's certain products that are worth the high price. There's certain products that are just don't.
Johnny,
you pay $200 for your satellite TV. $200 a month.
It comes close to it. Once you include the internet and all the extra features.
What else do you get? I mean, what are these special features?
Oh, it's a lot of different channels. when I call
I
them,
don't even want to know, John. I don't want to know what special channels you got.
but, but anywho, before this devolves into some sort of awful, strange conversation, Top, I don't know if I already brought it up, but Top, what's the feeling? What are people saying down there about Chivas TV in Guadalajara?
In Guadalajara, it's actually weird because even before Chivas TV, fans would have had to pay, I think it was 250 pesos, so like $16, $17 to watch Chivas live in Guadalajara if you live in the area, because that was what Televisa did. They cut it out, so you had to buy it pay-per-view on Sky. And I think that's one thing that people haven't picked up on. So actually, in Guadalajara, it's not that much different. It's outside, and I mean, for Chivas TV, it's not the States, so the internet access isn't great. I think it's like 40% of houses in Mexico have got internet. And it's just it's not enough yet. You know what I mean? The internet. I mean, even at my house, I can't get the fibra optica thing. What's it called? The
fiber optic.
Yeah, fiber optic or whatever. Broadband. I don't even know what internet really is.
Your internet is struggling a little bit today, so.
Yeah. So yeah, but I mean, in general, I thought the production of what I heard about the production of the channel and all that was good. The commentators, the interviews beforehand, the interviews after. I think most people seem pretty happy with that. It's just the fact that it's internet based and it cuts in and out, and it's just something they've got to live with.
Did they end up
this is my point.
Did they end up hiring anyone from the Tijuana casting?
I'm not sure.
Johnny, did you apply?
No, but I did see friends of mine all of a sudden out of nowhere become Chivas fans. Go figure. Who knew they were Chivas fans?
But I think two quick consequences as well of Chivas TV is firstly, I mean, it's just to kind of, in terms of kind of philosophy of Chivas and being the people's club and being a working class institution historically, I mean, it's shutting a lot of people out. There's no doubt about it. Chivas can say what they want and Chivas fans can say what they want, but there's no two ways about it. There's a lot of Chivas fans who are nowhere near being able to afford the prices that are on offer to watch a game live. And then secondly, I can't remember.
I'm just thinking if they keep the same prices and if this when in 2018 when this does come to the United States, I imagine that the prices that they're offering, obviously it's entirely different from the U.S. and Mexico, but I feel like I'd be willing to pay for that. I know a significant amount of people out here would be more than willing to do that, and I feel like once that once they kind of refine the surface, once they kind of make it a little bit better, by then, I mean, I can imagine they'd make a huge amount of money just based off just the U.S. fans alone, who would be more than willing to pay for those fees.
Yeah, I think in terms of the money that they can get back, I think the problem is in terms of the casual fan. I mean, you're not going to get as many eyes watching Chivas games as you would if it was on open TV, and one of the repercussions of that could be sponsorship, because at the end of the day, if you've got something on your shirt, if you've got on the back of your shirt or wherever, you want it in front of TV cameras, you want it widely spread, and I think there's a huge difference between, say, sponsoring America right now and sponsoring Chivas, because America are on TV, everybody can tune in and watch America, and Chivas aren't. Chivas you have to pay for just to watch.
Well, the whole repercussions of less Chivas fans, over the next few generations, is that really a problem? I don't know. Sounds like an added benefit.
No surprises from John. We know exactly. I mean, anytime we talk about Chivas, we just think of like the worst thing that you could possibly any the worst response you could think of. That's what Johnny's response. That's what Johnny's response will be.
Oh yeah. One thing we did notice. During while the Chivas game was going on, I wasn't paying attention to that. There was an America game going on, but on my Facebook feed, people started streaming, Facebook living their television screens. So for the next 2 years, there's gonna be Facebook Live, feeds just pointing their cell phones at the Univision broadcast in the U.S. And that's a free stream for the few people that do have internet in Mexico to watch.
And Periscope accounts as well. I think you're showing them to me too. The Periscope accounts on Facebook as well.
Facebook and Periscope.
All right, so looking back at the 2 weeks once again, let's talk about our favorite teams, our least favorite teams. Maybe it could be the most underwhelming team. Johnny just left. I guess he was just here to talk about Chivas and America, and then once we were just done with that, he was just gone. But Tom, yeah, Tom, let's talk about your favorite team so far in the Liga MX. Who have you been impressed by the most?
Yeah, I think obviously Pachuca have been pretty good. I think Querétaro over there, been doing all right. America, I think you expected him to win those 2 games. They're playing at home, so slightly impressed, but not kind of. We'll see. They've got bigger challenges to come. Puebla, big surprise that they've not lost after the first 2 games. Pumas are also lost, but they've not impressed me at all. Been pretty unimpressed with Pumas to be honest. I mean, I don't know if you guys watched the Pumas games, but they were so boring. I mean, the style was awful. I mean, I don't know if that's how Valencia wants to play, but he doesn't seem to be in tune with, I think, what a lot of the Pumas fans kind of want to see. And I think the other one that I've been impressed with is Atlas. I know they're only on 2 points there, but I think the way they played against Tigres, to go to the Estadio Universitario and play go up against Tigres and actually play them and actually take the game to them to a degree, I thought took a lot of initiative from Profe Cruz. And, if they should have had a penalty at the end of the day, and that could have been a big... I think it's more with Atlas, it's the fact that I expected so little before the season started. I mean, really didn't expect them to be doing anything. I mean, but I think they've just got an honest team. I'm not saying they're going to even make the playoffs, but they're also going to be a really difficult team to beat as well.
Yeah. Actually, going back to the Pumas game, Johnny, I did watch that, and if I remember correctly, I sent out a tweet. By the 80th minute, I don't think Pumas had a single shot on target, and I don't know if they finished with one, to be honest, with a single shot on target. And if it wasn't for Picolin, that game could have been much worse for the Bay. That was a dull match. Yeah, I've been unimpressed by them so far, but I've been impressed by Paco Palencia's the way he dressed for the game. If we had a power rankings of the most well-dressed Liga MX coaches, like Paco Palencia, he'd be battling number 1 or number 2 right now, man. I like it. I like what he's doing. Yeah, yeah. Both of them, they wore even tighter pants to me. It's insane, man. Yeah, they both wore. It's ridiculous. But Johnny,
what up? What question are we on? I thought
you completely left, and now you're back.
For a second there, I thought the people that running anonymous were Chiva fans.
Johnny, so far after 2 weeks, who have you liked the most? I mean, anybody? Here's I'm gonna have to give you certain rules. You have to mention someone other than America or Chivas. Who have you liked the most, and who have you disliked the most?
Man, I don't know. Why must you limit my responses?
Because then it's super predictable. Because then you would say that America is the best, and that Chivas is the best.
I want to choose one of the 2 teams that has played 2 games and won 2 games.
I guess what. I guess
6 points.
Actually, that's fair. All right, I'll give you. Okay, how about you can. You can't. All right, fine. Go. I'm not gonna limit you anymore. Just do your thing. Do your thing.
Yeah. So I've liked America. I've liked America. They've played 2 games and won.
Jesus.
I mean, how more perfect can you get than 2 games out of 2 games?
I mean, I guess you could be more perfect by being Pachuca, who scored 7 goals, as opposed to America, who's only scored 5.
Yeah. We watched the Pachuca game. That was pretty boring too. They did win that game. They did win that game, but it was still kind of boring there. Conejo Perez was being shown on the screen a lot. He had a lot of work to do.
All right, Johnny, your least favorite team. Do we know what you're gonna say, or
My least favorite team.
not in life? Like, don't I know what immediately comes to mind when you say
Yeah,
like, in the
but
past
so far this season, I don't know. Chiapas has.
Okay.
Yeah, they're one of those teams that you're allowed to hate, right?
so therefore,
No, and you know what? Tigres as well. I've been very disappointed with Tigres. Their attack makes people susceptible. People think they're going to be the best attacking team in the league, but which I don't think so. But their attack still should be better than 2-0 nils.
No, I will definitely stand by my comment. So I thought that I told Johnny, I was like, oh yeah, they're going to score more goals than anyone else, and he did make the fair argument. But he just said no, they're going to be scraping by with one or 2-0 wins, which is actually more than likely. And now that I think about it, I kind of feel foolish for saying that. But that said, I'm going to stand by the statement. They're going to score more goals than everyone else this season. All right. So let's. So before we go over, I think we can talk a little about the Olympics. We can look ahead to week 3. But before we do that, let me give you guys a quick rundown on the scores from the weekend. Stop me if you guys want to talk about the games really quickly. Just let me know. But so on Friday night, we had Veracruz beating Santos Laguna 2-0. I believe we had 2 goals from Peñalba, who gave the victory on Friday to Veracruz. We had the 2-0 on Saturday. We had the 2-0 win.
Quick one about Santos.
Boom! There you go.
Just looking at the Twitter accounts from Santos fans, and it seems like people aren't happy. That's it. It seems like people aren't happy early in the season. They've not scored in the first 2 games. Let's see how it continues, but it's something to watch out for. I think Santos, there's a bit of pressure on them next weekend.
Yeah, no, most definitely. I think.
We were talking about Santos as well this weekend.
We were.
Yeah, I'm very unimpressed by Santos. I think the lack of money doesn't help and makes them very blah team. But you seem to think they make interesting signings.
I said that they make some of the best under the radar signings in the league. But yeah, Johnny, you agree, right? We talked about. I think we talked about.
Once we modified it to under the radar, then I was able to jump on board.
Agreed. Sorry,
but America had done pretty well with signing under the radar players, isn't it? Recently, like Romero and picking up.
yeah. You have hit and miss there, which I'm very much against the under the radar signing. That is not in America's DNA. I'm very traditionalist. America needed to stick to the big guns signings.
We know you're a traditionalist in a lot of ways, Johnny. All right, so we got on Saturday we had Pachuca beating Chiapas 2-0. Any thoughts really quickly before I jump over to the next score? Anything about who was it? Was it Eric Guti who had that wonderful backheel pass for the assist for the second goal? I think that's all that really stands out on my mind for that match, as Johnny and I were trying to scramble and watch all of the games at the same time. We also had.
I just think for Pachuca now. I mean, I know we talked about the Olympics, but I think the number one team that it's going to affect is Pachuca. I mean, not just because the amount of players. What is it? 4. I think it's 4 players they've got going to the Olympics, but it's like those 4 players are kind of important players for the team, and they're having basically the heart ripped out of the team.
I thought they were sending 5 players to the Olympics.
Got Aguirre, Gutierrez, Lozano, Pizarro. Oh yeah, and Guzman, no?
Yeah, Guzman and
Guzman.
Dedo, yeah.
5, yeah. Dedos, is he going?
I'm pretty sure last I checked he is going. But we'll have to let someone on the YouTube chat confirm that Pachuca is actually sending 5 players.
But I mean the point is that they're gonna they're gonna suffer. They're definitely gonna suffer. I mean, Chivas have only got Salcedo, who was replaced last weekend anyways. Who else have they got? Bueno, who's not really played at all, and Who else?
Well,
Can't think now. But
the,
yeah, I mean,
I'm googling the Olympic roster right now. So Johnny.
Mike,
the chat
Mike
the chat is the chat is saying no go for fingers.
Oh, no go for those. All right, but it looks like people are saying that is going to be 5 players. That are
yeah,
going to
it's
be going
5.
to,
Yeah, 5.
Yeah.
Guzman
Yeah,
with the other.
That's right. All right, Johnny. Any thoughts on the Pachuca win over Chiapas?
Pretty boring stuff, but yeah, two out of two, just as perfect as America.
But with more goals. All right. Now going over to a game that was just as boring, if not more so boring, if not probably arguably the most boring game of the weekend. There was Cruz Azul 0, Pumas 0. I don't know if there's really much to say about the game other than what we saw. I mean, it was unfortunately the one game I was really paying attention to the most as well, and I know there was a lot of attention given to it. I know that a lot of people were looking forward to it, but it was it was very boring. It wasn't a good way for me to start this to start my Saturday watching of games. That's for sure. And that at least go ahead.
Cruz Azul did offer a couple lulls there with their misses, so we got that.
Yeah, but at least Cruz Azul though, at least they were trying. At least they were, I mean, Guerrón had a really bad game.
I was giggling inside, just thinking of the frustration that Jason Marquez must have been feeling at the time, seeing all those misses.
Oh yeah, I most definitely do feel bad for Jason. I know all those misses which were terrible. It was Bigolin had a good game in goal, and who was it?
Feel bad for all Cruz Azul fans.
I feel bad for nobody. I thoroughly enjoy it.
And then we had Tigres. We had them tying Atlas 0-0. That game did get a little bit better in the second half. It looked like it was starting to pick up a little bit, but that was a second 0-0 from Saturday. We had Morelia versus Querétaro, 2-2 match. Which so when I was hanging out with Johnny on Saturday, we had all the listed games. We were gonna watch all of them, but there was one that there was a little bit of an overlap and it was a little difficult. And I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna watch Morelia Querétaro. That's the one game I'm not gonna really pay attention to. I don't care. Ended up being that was the best game so far from.
So on that time slot, we had the option of Tigres Atlas, León Necaxa, or Morelia Querétaro, and we decided to watch the 2-0-0 games of that time slot.
Yep, that's what ended up happening. But I did. We ended up. I put it up on my laptop. I found a stream. I ended up watching the last, I want to say, 20 to 30 minutes, which were really entertaining. Some excellent stuff, if I remember correctly, from Querétaro, who came back. It was what's his face scored. Who scored the free kick at the very end there, the golazo at the end, who ended up equalizing the game. But anywho, that was as I mentioned, that was the one game I wasn't paying attention to, but that was the one I should have watched. León Necaxa ended 0-0.
I mean,
that one. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, quickly about Morelia, just really quick. They've got to be careful with they're going to need to win games, Morelia. Mm-hmm. The 7 points off Tijuana in the relegation table, and there's only Necaxa behind them. But Necaxa got 2 pretty decent results so far. I mean, they played Cruz Azul and León, which are 2 respectable teams. They've got 2 draws. They look like they're going to be able to do something. That leaves Morelia, and the way they're looking so far, I know they gave up a 2-goal lead. In the relegation battle like this, they can't afford to be doing that at home to a team like Querétaro, especially.
No, most definitely. They're one of those teams that are right there in the relegation race. Like, you have them with, Tijuana, you have Veracruz, you have Puebla, all those teams. Of course, Necaxa is right there in the relegation race. I mean, we still got a long time. We still have until next summer, but all these games are still crucial. They're very, very crucial for these teams. Then we have the 0-0 for León and Necaxa. I mean, I wrote about this for Soccer Nation earlier today. I feel like if there was a 2-word summary of that game, it was just rain delay. That's all it was. It was difficult for either side to really create much on the field that was just littered with water. There was a significant rain delay, and then they weren't able to do much at the end either. It was a 0-0 result for both of them. We already talked about Chivas beating Monterrey 1-0. As I mentioned, a narrow but significant victory for them. We had America defeating Toluca 3-1, and then on Sunday we had, which was arguably the most entertaining game of the weekend. We touched upon it, but it was Puebla beating Tijuana 3-2. Puebla looked amazing. I mean, it was a tale of 2 halves. We had You had Puebla they looked amazing during the first half, and in the second half, Herrera, Pio Herrera, and Tijuana pushed for that third goal, but they just came up short and weren't able to get that equalizing opportunity. Any last thoughts on week two? Any of these results? Anything involving the Liga MX? Nothing. Nothing at all. All right. Well, okay. Well, let's go into the Olympics. So, right now, Mexico's U23 roster, including the 3 overage players, which are Jorge Torres Nilo, Alfredo Talavera, and Oribe Peralta. They're going to be training and they're going to be preparing for Thursday's match against Argentina's Olympic roster. After that, they'll be heading over to Brazil this Saturday night.
Is Argentina still a team?
Yes, it's still a team. And they'll be heading to Brazil this Saturday night. So give me your guys' thoughts. Maybe something to look forward to, players to keep an eye on. What should we really expect with this Olympic roster? Tom, let's go to you. Just thoughts in general about this Olympic team.
About this Olympic team, I think it's pretty good. I don't think that it's got the same quality and experience as the last one, which obviously won the gold medal. I think they're a bit behind that team, but I think that Potro Gutierrez is going to be kind of defining his his 11 to go into that first game, big game against Germany. Mexico opening against German side. So yeah, I think that's the important thing. I think the overage players are not kind of overly exciting, but I think they fill the gaps and I think they'll be decent. So yeah, I think the other thing with the Olympics, I mean, I know we all get excited and stuff, and it is exciting, and it was very exciting when Mexico won the gold medal in London. But at this stage, seeing individuals, you know what I mean? I don't know. I want to see the likes of Lozano absolutely light up the tournament. Even more than Mexico getting a kind of medal or anything. I just think it's important that some of the better known, more experienced players in this Mexico squad shine. Because at the end of the day, I think there's an opportunity for them to move up into the full national team. I mean, we're still kind of in the post 7-0 era of Mexican football, and I think part of the process of reevaluating where Mexico is at is going to be what role do these younger players. That is important more than anything for me, at least. Is let's see which of these players can say, you know what, I'm ready right now to go into the full national team and state my claim there.
Yeah, I think a key thing you brought up. I mean, just you're talking about the individuals, whatnot. I think this competition is going to happen right before a couple of World Cup qualifying games for Mexico. This is a World Cup qualifying round where Mexico has already solidified a spot into hexagonal. Knowing Osorio, more than likely he's going to want to bring up some of those young options, probably some of those more exciting young options who do well in the Olympics and maybe make a name for themselves. So I think this is not only...
Why bring more options? Why?
I'm speaking for Osorio. I'm not speaking for ourselves. I'm saying that Osorio, he's going to look at some of these young guys, and he's going to knowing that Mexico already has a spot solidified in the hexagonal round. I'm just not. I assume that he's going to want to try a couple of these guys out during the next couple of games. Even though I feel as if he is on thin ice. Even though I feel as if he loses another match, people are going to give him a lot of criticism. I still wouldn't be surprised if he would bring in a couple of new names.
He needed to have a boot up his rear end after that 7-0. Why more experiments?
All I'm saying is like that's just what I think he's going to do. I don't know if that's something I would do, but I think that's something that I think he's going to do.
Right, so it's very difficult. He's got a very difficult decision because I'm sure he'd like to do that, but we all know the pressure in Mexico as well. And even though you're playing El Salvador and Honduras at home, El Salvador away and Honduras at home, it's still he hasn't got any room to maneuver now. So it's going to be fascinating. I hope he takes the risk and even I'll just throw this out there now. Rest some of the European players, Euro-based players, because if there's a time to rest them, Mexico have got 6 games still to play in 2016. You've got another busy summer with the Confederations Cup and the Gold Cup. So if there's a time to rest the likes of Guardado, Moreno, and not have them make massive journey from Europe, not just to Mexico, but then down to Central America, then I think those would be the games and the games to throw. You know, Cesar Montes, Pizarro, Lozano, you know, Eric Gutierrez. Throw some of those players in and see how they stand up.
And I think Osorio's biggest job right now is something similar to what Miguel Herrera did with Carlos Vela. He needs to go out, reach out to Giovanni Dos Santos, do whatever it takes to get that player back into the national team.
I don't think you need to do whatever it takes to bring back Gio and Vela. I mean, not to go down this path.
I could care less right now about Vela. I want Gio back in the national team. The national team needs Gio, and Osorio needs to do whatever he can to get Gio back.
I don't think that Gio needs the national team, and I don't think the national team needs Gio, and I think both would be entirely happy if they never cross paths ever again. That's just what I think. But
I don't know. I think Gio's gonna want to come back, and I definitely think, you know, it might not be now, but I think he's gonna want to come back. He's gonna want the next World Cup. You know what I mean? I'm sure. I mean, he'd have to be completely without any ambition if you don't want that. You know, I mean, yeah, I'm sure he's very happy, but, you know, the thing about Giovanni, I mean, I know he played well the other day for Los Angeles Galaxy, but Matt Doyle wrote a story about how, you know, Giovanni basically needs the defensive cover if he's playing on the wing, because basically he's not very good at defending. And I know in the Copa America against Chile, there's a lot of players. You could say the same thing about Tecatito Corona, the same thing about Lozano, but I think it's something that Osorio's gonna want that work ethic moving forward. And you know, does Giovanni have it? Does he have the personality? Does he fit in with what Osorio wants? And I think that's the question now. I mean, they've already started on a really rocky footing the last, you know, as soon as basically Osorio's taken over, there's been no like kind of public comments of them not liking each other or not getting on. But I mean, Osorio, it took him a long time to take one flight from Mexico City to Los Angeles to check out Gio. You know what I mean? He didn't need to. I don't know why he waited so long for that. If Giovanni's going to be important for him.
Yeah, and it seems like it was a complicated situation, and people still are trying to figure out whether Gio turned down that call up, whether it was the national. It just all seems like it's still up in the air. But anyway, so Johnny, any quick thoughts on the Olympic roster, on the friendly against Argentina this Thursday? Raúl Jiménez, oh my God, Oribe Peralta. I'm just thinking about America strikers who used to play. Raúl Jiménez is even. Anywho, my mind's elsewhere. Johnny,
your heart. We know where your heart's at.
The Europeans. I can't wait until this European season starts. Anywho, Johnny, anything about the Olympics really quickly?
Please don't mess it up anymore. You know, if you're gonna lose with dignity. Yeah, just go do that. Have fun, enjoy the trip. We'll be here watching Liga MX.
I think there's a certain amount of pressure now as well, because I think we've had a lot of talk over the last few years about Mexican youth system, the production, the quality of Mexican youth at you know, international tournaments, and I think in the wake of that assessment of you know, Mexico's place in the game, and I think they really, I mean, imagine if Mexico goes out the group stage now. Can you imagine the criticism from the press, the intensity of what would happen here?
With South Korea and Fiji as group opponents, that's going to be one hell of a failure if they don't get out of the group. Yeah.
I mean, South Korea, I mean, obviously I don't know much about this current crop, but they've produced a few decent players. They're really like a poor team now.
I'll say that's a strange thing. I brought this up the last time I was on the show. Like, what do we know about under 23 players from South Korea? What do we know about I mean, Fiji might be a different thing, but what do we know about under 23 players from Germany? Maybe a little bit more about Germany. Maybe we could expect something a little bit tougher there, but I don't know. I feel like it's difficult to really make assumptions on this tournament when we know even the most, you know, even some of us out there who are the most knowledgeable about youth soccer, there's still so much more to learn about other countries out there. It's just really difficult to make assumptions and make guesses.
But I also think it's part of the. I mean, you have to give. The Olympics is obviously and winning it's great and all that, but a lot of these players who we're going to see play for Mexico, obviously in the Olympics, that they face for me bigger tests week in week out in the Liga MX these days. Especially someone like Cesar Montes, who he's starting for Monterrey and playing Liguilla and reaching finals and playing against some really top strikers. Are they going to find those in the Olympics? Obviously there are, but I'd say in general, obviously Neymar, but in general I'd say the quality of the Olympics is lower than the Liga MX. I don't know if I'm mistaken there or not, but it's just, I don't know. That's what I assume, at least.
No, I don't think that's ridiculous of a claim. All right, so really quickly, just to finish up the show, we've already been here chatting about soccer for about an hour. Unfortunately, I thought we were going to be talking a little bit about Pokemon, but it's all right. Maybe on the next show. So let's look ahead to week 3. We've got some big games ahead. We got Tijuana taking on Chivas. I'll be at the game this Friday. I know Johnny will be there too. We got, let's see, big match. We got Monterrey and Cruz Azul on Saturday. We got Pachuca Necaxa. Ooh, this is a good one right here. We got America and Tigres on Saturday as well. And then on Sunday, it looks like actually we're gonna have 3 games on Sunday. So we're gonna have we got Pumas and León, and that's another big one. And potentially Santos and Morelia could be a good one as well. Anything that stands out to you guys from the upcoming weekend?
Yeah, that Monterrey game is it's a battle of who's worse. Not looking forward to that at all. America should have beat this very weak Tigres side. Even with Moises Muñoz's injury, I don't think the watered down Tigres attack is gonna produce much danger on Hugo Gonzalez. Chivas, Xolos, it's gonna be a rough day. There's a lot of Chivas fans in Tijuana.
And Southern California.
It's gonna be pretty annoying at the stadium.
Oh man, now I'm gonna look forward to this. Oh dude, it's gonna be great sitting next to you, Johnny. All right, Tom.
Yeah, obviously Tijuana is going to be good. Monterrey, Cruz Azul, pressure on Monterrey. I think that they lost that final. There's been a bit of a hangover. The fans will want to see a reaction against Cruz Azul on Saturday. So I think it's a big game for Monterrey. Atlas, like I said before, a lot of positive things, but they have to win a game now. You know what I mean? And they're playing Veracruz at home. It's time for them to go out and actually make an impact. America, Tigres, again. Tigres, same situation as Monterrey, entirely underwhelming so far this season. So, let's see if they can go to the Azteca and the atmosphere and all that will kind of get a performance out of them. Pumas, same thing. I mean, I'm sure fans, they'll be kind of happy that they're on 4 points or whatever, but I'm sure they'll want to see more against León on Sunday. And as I mentioned before, Santos, I think, are in under a bit of pressure now. Zubeldia's maybe under a bit of pressure, and they're at home to Morelia, who is another team that, like I said, they're actually already right in the midst of that relegation battle, and Meza he's got a massive job on his hand. I don't think Morelia's squad's that good, and he's got to work wonders once again to get him out of that relegation mess.
Yeah, most definitely agree. Yeah, we'll see what happens this weekend. We'll see what happens with all these matches. I'll be there. Tom, are you going to any matches this weekend? I know Johnny and I will be in Tijuana this Friday. Tom, are you going to be watching the Atlas match this Saturday?
I don't think I am, no. But I'll tell you why. This is the thing, like, to the Atlas game, I miss every other game. And on the same day, you've got Monterrey Cruz Azul, which is, be a top game, and then America Tigres. So it's like, do I go and watch Atlas Veracruz, and miss all the rest of the games, or do I stay at home and like watch 3 matches?
That's the nice thing about Tijuana so far, is that all their games are on Fridays, so all those like jam-packed Saturdays and Sundays for the most part, I can see most of those. So that is most definitely nice. If I remember correctly, I think the game against Chivas this Friday is the only game on Friday this week, so that is very nice. Yep. All right, so it's been looks like it's been an hour and 5 minutes. So thank you guys, thank you to everyone in the chat, thank you for your patience with me. I know I'm no Weasel. Weasel's he's a little bit better with his transitions, I feel like that's something I need to work on. I'll get there eventually. I'll be a decent backup. I know I look like Toluca's backup goalkeeper for a little bit tonight, but I'll work on that. Yeah, thank you to Johnny. Obviously, it's pretty warm in his place because I can't even see him buttoning any of his shirts on any his buttons on his T-shirt right now.
You know what? And you know what? It's a sit down show, so pants are optional right now.
Oh my lord! You
Well,
wanted to know that?
That got disgusting. I'm gonna have nightmares for a very long time. Thank you to Tom over in Guadalajara. Guys, any final thoughts? I think Johnny gave us his, but Johnny, any final thoughts that are PG-13 or PG?
Yeah, back to politics.
That's it. All right, so back to politics. You're gonna watch the DNC coverage tonight.
Yeah, but I want to see if Sanders has already given his speech.
We know, Johnny. He's telling us all about Hillary. All right, Tom, any last thoughts?
Yeah, just keep an eye on the European market. Obviously, Carlos Vela, I think he's probably playing on Wednesday in the first pre-season friendly. I think it'd be good now for Vela to get out, to do something different, a new change of scenery. It seems like I don't know. He seems to have got bogged down at Real Sociedad, and it's not happened for him the last couple of years. So I don't know. It'd be interesting to see. I mean, I hope that at this stage it's not MLS because I just think
new team for Ochoa.
Big.
Hey, new team for Ochoa. New team for Ochoa.
New team for Ochoa. Yeah. Granada. I've got the scarf. I didn't even know I got it, but it's up there.
There you go. Ochoa to Granada, a new opportunity for him. They had their starting goalkeeper was on loan, and now he's I forgot what team he was sent back to. So it looks like Ochoa has a good opportunity for minutes over there in Granada. So I'm excited for that as well.
The Ochoa haters are gonna have to find a new excuse.
I don't know if there really are that many Ochoa haters left anymore. But anywho, we'll save that for the next.
I beat them all. I have defeated them.
One of your very rare defeats, Johnny. All right, so thank you guys. Sorry, John, I'm just messing. You know I love to mess with you. Anyhow, we'll argue after the show as well. All right, so thank you guys. Thank you, Johnny. Thank you, Tom. Thank you to all the listeners. Be sure to subscribe to the show. I know if you're watching this on YouTube, just look right down. And you can see a little option to subscribe. Click on that. If you want to be updated on our shows that we have every Monday, sometimes we have them on Thursdays. We look forward to it's gonna be exciting with the Olympics coming up. It's gonna be exciting with the European season coming up as well. So
also tell everyone to download this podcast from iTunes. We don't care if you listen to it or not. Just give us a download.
There you go. Give us a download. Give us some good ratings too. Be honest with the ratings. If you don't like it, give us
No, don't be honest. Give us 5 stars. If not, don't bother.
Yeah. So if you don't know, 5-star means you hate the show. So if you really hate it, give it 5 stars. That's what it means on iTunes. So thank you everyone, and we'll see you guys next week. All right. I'll see you guys later.